Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. Eric Stamets, Brad Miller, Max Moroff, Jordan Luplow. Nobody asked Paul Dolan about them, but if they did, he would probably say, enjoy them while you have them. I know you should wait at least 40 games before you have a big enough sample size, but I'd like to know and see what the Indians brass saw in these guys and others that would make them think that they could do anything that resembles a major leaguer. Oh yeah. Then there's Tyler Naquin. His sample size is plenty big enough to decide about him. And I've decided you would have thought that the Indians brass would have decided also. Dennis Manoloff is here. More sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine on a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into our 23rd season, of course, seen exclusively on cleveland.com. The D-man, Dennis Manoloff, is here. How are you, young man?
I'm good, Les. I'm well. Thank you, Les. I appreciate the having me on this week in particular.
What does that mean?
Well, it's my first appearance as former plain dealer sports writer, so.
Well, sorry to hear that, as always, but you will land on your feet and bounce back real soon. I know you will.
Well, I appreciate that, and this is a start. You know, I mean, to be for you not to cast me aside is a great thing. But listen, I have nothing.
Early.
I have well, exactly. It could be done by the end of the show. I have nothing but great things to say about the Plain Dealer. Wonderful paper, and I was fortunate. I said this with no hesitation. I was fortunate to be employed for 29 consecutive years.
Yeah.
I mean, uninterrupted employment
in your home city.
Yeah, and growing up, I grew up reading the press and the Plain Dealer. I wanted to write for the Plain Dealer sports department someday. Got to live the dream there. Still supporting the Plain Dealer. Yesterday's paper, I haven't caught up with today's yet, but I always will support the Plain Dealer. No issues there. Nothing with cleveland.com or anything. The news operation that cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer has is excellent. There are tons of talented people. I'm not just saying that for the sake of saying it. I know it to be true. So, I'm not, I'm nothing but happy with the career, as it were. But I never took for granted uninterrupted employment.
Yeah, a classy response on your part, no question about it. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. We can still call you the D-man. That's not copyrighted, right?
That's not, that stays with me.
Yeah, you had it before, you've had it since.
That's
the D-man, Dennis Manoloff, with us. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can also email us during the show, and that number, of course, is reallesslevine@gmail.com. A little bit later, we'll give you the voice of voice of truth and whatever. What are we calling it?
Reason?
No, where you can call and just email us or leave messages for us 24 hours a day, and you can do that. We'll give you the number a little bit later. All right, the Indians starting off in a terrible situation, 2-3. And you wonder how they won 2 games the way they've been hitting. Pitching has been okay in a couple of games. Certainly, Corey Kluber bothersome yesterday against a very bad White Sox team.
Yeah, and a team that Kluber's had a lot of success with.
He was 9-0.
Success against over the years. So nothing to panic there. 5 games is too early of a sample, too small of a sample. But clearly, I mean, it doesn't take a scout, a grade A scout, to look at that lineup and say there's a lot to be desired. Before the show, Les, I said this. I think Francona gets through nights, besides the fact that he's well paid and just got his extension. I think what gets him through the nights is he realizes that, let's say, I guess optimistically, by mid-May, Lindor, Kipnis, I'm going to say Carlos Gonzalez, and perhaps Cameron Maben are all coming in and 4 are going out. And I'm not saying that those 4 are the cavalry, short of Lindor, but they're better than what they're going to be
Right.
replacing.
All right. Can we look at this decision by the front office and by Terry Francona? He must think that this isn't a season-ending situation for Lindor. He must think he's getting him back, or he
You mean Francona?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, they never want you to play doctor. I'm not going to play doctor. There's got to be a little bit of concern, though, when
Sure.
you're talking about second opinions, going to the Packers ankle guy and all this, and indefinite timetable and all that stuff. But I still believe that, yeah, I agree with you. I think they think they'll have him back sooner than later.
I said today that if Lindor isn't comfortable with it, he should get back to the Indians and say, hey, remember that $100 million contract? Let's redo it. I don't want to wait 2 more years.
Yeah, and that's what's so interesting about today's day, Les, in the game. You know, only a few shows ago we were talking about how the players were grousing because the owners weren't opening up the wallets.
This is why you don't.
Now all of a sudden, the money's flowing, but you see a lot of it with extensions, because I think what's happened is the agents and the players have correctly read the 21st century evaluations of players, and they've said, you know what? Free agency in the 30s is no guarantee like it used to be, okay? Lucrative contracts
Sure.
as a free agent in your 30s.
Yeah.
Better to take the cash in your 20s, even if you're sacrificing some arbitration years.
But the agents want their money up front, too, so that could be part of the argument for them to sign as soon as you can.
Sure, but I do think, though, that there is a changing landscape. And the owners and the front office people made it clear this offseason that short of the superstars, the megastars, like the Harpers and the Machados and the Arenados and the Trouts, the next levels aren't going to get what they think they're going to get. So you need to think long and hard about foregoing all that cash early in your career.
Right.
If you think there's going to be that pot of gold when you hit 30 or beyond 30 and you think you're going to have a 7, 8, 9-year deal, think again. So you're seeing a lot of these young guys taking these deals.
There's a part of it with Lindor, for example. He's got a way, when he sees Trout sign for what he signed for, Lindor and his agent have to say, my goodness, that means $400 or $500 million for me. But it may turn the other way.
Well, that's exactly right. That's what that's the trick that the player and the agent have to play, or the navigation they have to do. Because you look at Acuna from the Braves, 8 years, $100 million. And I don't know what age he is, at 21, 22, but he's getting hit from a lot of areas saying, oh, you way undersold yourself. How could you sign for such a small amount of money when your ceiling is going to be much higher? Well, easy for us to say, but he just signed a deal for a guaranteed $100 million. So I could sit here and say, oh, you undervalued yourself, or you're going to be worth X in such amount of years, whereas he might have said $100 million is generational changing money.
Sure.
I'm not walking away from it, even if it's 8 years and even if I look undervalued.
And not only that, you have a player's owner's situation coming up. You don't know you don't know if there's going to be salary caps. I doubt that there will be, but you don't know. There could be all kinds of differences financially when it gets 2-3 years down the road.
It will, yeah. It's scheduled, I think, after 2021 is when the supposed Armageddon is going to occur. But I'll tell you this. It's going to be hard for players to cry poverty when they've seen all the money that has flowed their way in just the last month, just the last 6 weeks.
Although more money's coming too, more contracts too, with TV coming up, so it'll be different. And you can make an argument both ways. Take the money now, and in Lindor's case, he's got 2 years before he can make that decision. Who knows what the injury factor will be at that point? Or the wear and tear. You figure he's young enough that he'll avoid it, but hey, nobody thought he was going to miss the first month of the season.
He gives me the impression, and I'm not saying this to be negative toward Lindor, but he gives me the impression of a very self-assured guy who doesn't think like nervous think. He's thinking, I'm going to be great for years and years and years. I'm not worried about my health.
Right.
I'll sign my $300 to $400 million contract at some point.
216-575-0403. We've been talking baseball. We'll switch over to football a little bit. We'll talk about the improvement, if there is an improvement, in the defense for the Cleveland Browns. We'll talk about that and more. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/more sports and Les Levine, with new content posted each and every day. The D-Man, Dennis Manoloff, with us. And, of course, more sports and Les Levine seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Birthdays for today. Former Indian player-manager won the first World Series for the Indians in 1920. That's Tris Speaker. Gil Hodges, first baseman for the Dodgers. Ray Fosse in position to get hit by Pete Rose. Documentary, born in 1947. Scott Rowland from Jasper, Indiana, and Cameron Maven, who D-Man mentioned earlier, now, I won't say a member of the tribe, but member of the tribe organization.
Yeah, they certainly plan on him coming forth at some point, just as they do with Carlos Gonzalez.
216-575-0403 is the number to call if you'd like to get in on this. D-Man, we're talking, mentioned the Browns and defensively. Right now, everybody thinking offensively and how potent they're going to be, but they've made some changes defensively, and let's take a look at what they have right here. Last year, even though Greg Williams was there as the defensive-minded guy, they ranked 20th in total defense, 30th rather in total defense, 25th in pass defense, 28th in rush defense. It forced 22 turnovers in the first 8 games and only 9 in the last 9 games. Joe Schobert led the league in missed tackles. That's not a good thing. Jamie Collins was second. You don't have to worry about Collins. He's not here anymore. But those are horrible, horrible numbers.
I'm not one to ever question our staff, but is that true that Schobert led the league in missed tackles? Wow. Okay. I mean, I guess I'm asking it rhetorically. I can't believe that. Well,
apparently it's true.
All right.
There you look at the defensive line from 2018. Myles Garrett, Emmanuel Ogbah, Trevon Coley, and Larry Ogunjobi. Now we continue on, and we'll take a look at 2018's linebackers and defensive backs. Schobert and Collins, Jannard Avery, Jabril Peppers, Demarius Randall, T.J. Carey, and Denzel Ward. And now we move to this, potentially what's going to be there this year. Vernon at defensive end along with Myles Garrett. That's pretty potent. Sheldon Richardson and Larry Ogunjobi. Again, D-Man on paper looks pretty good.
Yes, that's certainly that front four.
Here you have the linebackers and defensive backs, Avery and Schobert, Christian Kirksey, Eric Murray, Demarius Randall again, Denzel Ward, and Terrence Mitchell will be in the defensive backfield for the Browns.
Yeah, I mean, since we last talked, I believe the Ogbah trade occurred.
Yes.
Not a surprise. Ogbah looked at the writing on the wall. He looked at the personnel and said, I need to get my sack opportunities. They're not coming here. And Dorsey accommodates him. Maybe Dorsey wanted to move him out anyway. But to get Murray in here, you would think that given Dorsey's connections to Murray, that Dorsey's serious about Murray playing.
Let's go to the phones. We'll go to Findlay. Go ahead. You're on the air with Dennis Manoloff.
Yeah, it's Tim and Findlay.
Hi, Tim.
What's up, Tim?
Or Jim, rather. Jim.
It's good to be talking to you guys again.
Nice to have you with us.
I wish with Dennis it was under more pleasant circumstances, but I'm sorry to hear about your departure. But, you remember when I first came on the air with you guys, I think I mentioned the fact that you guys would make a hell of a partnership, did I not?
I don't remember every call. I do remember that one, though.
Yep. I remember that distinctly, and it's been quite a few months ago that I did, in fact. The other thing, Les, is I wondered how your battle with health is coming.
I'm doing very well, and I really appreciate asking about it. I'm doing extremely well, to be honest with you.
I'm glad.
Now, I may
really
keel
glad to
over
hear
at
that.
the end of this
the
show.
Last thing, and I want you to write this down this time, because when you had Andy Baskin on, you didn't have a record of it. I want to predict that our great Cleveland Browns are going to make the conference playoff.
Well, what do you mean the conference playoffs? You're talking about
The
for the conference championship?
Conference championship. Ooh.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, why don't you just go all the way?
I don't know. I've been around. I've watched them for a long time, and this is the best talent I think they've ever had. Ever.
You're not getting scooped up in the euphoria here of Brownstown?
I'm sorry?
You're not getting swept up, or you are getting swept up in the euphoria here?
No, not so much. I'm just looking at the reality of the whole thing. Dorsey has brought in some excellent talent, and he's made some trades, and overall, I think Dorsey's done, I don't know, as good, if not better, than any other general manager in the NFL. He's going to put Cleveland on the map, that's for sure. But I'm going to stick my head out, and I'm going to say that I think the Cleveland Browns will make the conference championship.
All right.
Well, that sounds like fun. I can't wait to have fun on Sunday afternoons again. It's been a
All
long
right,
time.
buddy. You take care, and Dennis, you'll find. I'm sure things will work out for you.
Thank you, sir.
Jim, thank you very much.
Good to hear from you again.
Have you read the stuff on the Packers and McCarthy and Rodgers?
I'd heard about it.
Yeah.
As I was driving here, I heard about Bull and Fox talking
Right.
about it, but I have not had a chance to read the article yet.
If it's true, if what the claims were about McCarthy, I'm glad that wasn't the guy they picked.
Okay. Well, and here's the thing. Who would know about McCarthy in the Browns building?
Dorsey. Yeah. Tells you all you need to know.
Did Dorsey ever strike you as hot on McCarthy's trail?
No, supposedly didn't even, that we know of, didn't even have an interview with him. Just excused him out of hand.
But listen to what, it's Tim, right? It's not Jim. Isn't it Tim from Findlay?
I
Tim,
don't know.
I swear you're Tim, but maybe I'm losing it. But
he's the player that's named later.
What the legend from Findlay said about getting the conference championship, that's, coming from him, that's a lot because he has been skeptical in the past.
There, yeah.
I don't know that I say they're the best talent they've ever had. I mean, that's a little bit of a stretch. There's a lot of proving to be done. And the skeptic would say, let's say the skeptic in Pittsburgh or in Baltimore or even Cincinnati would say, you haven't done anything yet. Oh, by the way, last year you were 7-8-1.
Yeah,
you still aren't 500 yet.
Right.
And now all of a sudden we're supposed to think you're going to the Super Bowl. But you know what? Fine. So what if the other opponents take umbrage with it?
How about the fact that so many national guys now are coming around to saying the Browns are overrated? They're getting too much press. Who cares what who cares what these guys say?
Sure, and the Browns could say, and I think they kind of made it clear on the dais on the podium with Beckham and Mayfield and Landry and Garrett, as well as Kitchens and his Indians cap, as you pointed out. They weren't saying, we're going to the Super Bowl or we've arrived. They all said nothing's been proven yet. It's all paper. So the Browns are not claiming that they're the greatest team ever.
But tell me what Freddie Kitchens should have said when he met with the team as a group on day one of these not mandatory sessions. What is he supposed to say? My guess is he's supposed to say we're as good as anybody in the league. Now we have to prove it, but there's no reason to think of ourselves as underdogs right now.
Tremendous point. Which would you rather have? You know, the quiet coach going in there, oh, guys, you know, do the best you can. Let's hope for a few wins. Or you go in there with confidence. I mean, I want a locker room, if I'm in charge, I want the locker room feeling good about itself.
In fact, one of the things I'd be concerned about is how Freddie Kitchens does in meetings like that, because he hasn't done it. I know he's seen it before with a whole bunch of different organizations, but you still wonder how he's going to do it, pull it off all by himself.
Sure, but I don't think he has to be by himself. That's the good news.
He's got some help.
He's got people like Wilkes to lean on. He has Monken, a veteran staff. He also has Dorsey. You know, I'm sure. I don't think Dorsey's going to intentionally try to get involved all the time with Kitchens' business.
No, unless he sees it running off the rails here.
Right, but I think that Kitchens knows that the reason he's the head coach of the Browns is John Dorsey, obviously.
Correct.
So he feels like he could lean on Dorsey for things if necessary.
Right. They're not opposites as they were when you had Hugh Jackson.
They're not rivals, yes.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Dennis Manoloff, the D-Man, is with us. Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. Right now you can catch the excitement of live harness racing every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday evenings. Post time 6 p.m. Open early every day for simulcast action. Road to the Derby contest every Saturday. That's through April 20th. And you can scout this year's Kentucky Derby contenders for a chance to win cash. Free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. D-Man and I return in a moment. We're going to find out about the Indians and can they improve their lineup? What can they do? We have the voicemail of Truth and Reason where you can call in anytime and leave us a message. You can do that. And in the meantime, we're going to take a break and we'll tell you more when we get back. More sports and Les Levine seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your basement is damp, dirty, and not somewhere you want to spend time. Let Nature Stone Flooring transform your basement into a true extension of your home. Nature Stone's proprietary hydrostatic ports allow water to simply evaporate, so no mold or mildew. Nature Stone is the affordable basement floor solution that beautifies your home.
Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of March and get up to 50% off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line, a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie. D-Man, how come if you go the whole 9 yards, you still turn the ball over to the other team? I believe you need 10 yards, right? They haven't changed that rule yet?
Yeah. That's why 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Still short. Well, you could punt. You can go for it
on fourth
kick
and get
a field goal.
More, yeah.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Dennis Manoloff is with us. As we get ready to for the Indians, they got a 4-game series with the Toronto Blue Jays. What a horrible way to open up the season with, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the White Sox are going to be good someday, but not yet.
Now.
I mean, they're coming, but they're not there yet, so that's not an easy draw after opening day. The Blue Jays are a middling to bad AL East team, regardless of what the standings look like right now.
Let me go back to the Browns as we were talking. What concerns you the most? My biggest concern, and it may not be fair, is Freddie Kitchens, because I don't know, he hasn't coached a game yet. What bothers you? What concerns you?
The defense, because their numbers were not very good last year. The turnovers hid a lot of the problems in the first half of the season, as the graphic showed. But when they weren't forcing turnovers, they were exposed.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Now, the upgrades, the Sheldon Richardson type upgrades, lead you to believe, yes, that they're going to be much better defensively, but I want to see it first. And obviously you add another edge rusher like Vernon. You think you get to the quarterback faster, which takes more pressure off the DBs. So, again, a paper situation, but this was not a good defense last year. There's a lot that has to be made up in order for them to be good on defense.
Very simple way to describe how to succeed in football. You do things, it's basically in the trenches. You do things to make the quarterback uncomfortable, and on your team, you do things to make your quarterback safe. Pretty simple as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, or an offshoot of that is you force turnovers and don't commit them.
Exactly.
If you can do that, then you'll be all right.
Let's go to Bill, who's standing by in North Olmsted. Bill, good evening. How are you?
Hey, Les. I'm doing well, and I'm glad to hear you're doing well.
I am.
And always like when Dennis is on the table there with you, because it brings me back to the Hall of Fame induction and the good conversation I had with him in Cooperstown.
Yeah, it was my pleasure, Bill.
Very, very concerned about the Tribe. And, I'm not one of these guys that after a week early in the season say, oh, geez, this is going to be a bad year and blah, blah. But what I'm bothered by is I've seen a lot of carryover from what I experienced in spring training. I was concerned because I went to 5 games, and the Indians were shut out of 2 of them, which rarely happens in Arizona spring training.
Right.
But I'm watching how the bats are being swung, the pitches that are being taken, the way the defense reacts. And one of the things that I've noticed, and I don't know that I've ever seen this before, the Indians hitters, although they're obviously doing terrible, are getting some very fat pitches. And I'm seeing them either just on a 2-0 count, take a pitch right down the middle, get a good pitch and just foul it off. I'm not seeing hard outs. I'm not seeing hard swings.
And by the way, we all know it's tough to play in cold weather, but yesterday wasn't that bad.
Well, yeah, but cold weather has nothing to do with taking fat pitches or not doing anything with them.
Yeah, right.
I even have noticed that catchers are even setting up right down the middle. You'll always see a catcher kind of squatting down low and pushing his catcher's mitt into the ground a little bit or on the outside.
Well, Bill, let's be honest.
An awful lot of pitches go right down the middle and us doing nothing with them.
Yeah, but let's be honest. The pitcher for the opposing team is looking at a lineup that has 3 or 4 guys who are not major league hitters. And I know there is a small sample size, but you can tell they're not major league hitters.
Well, you're being generous because I think there's about 5 or maybe 6 in the lineup. And I just saw the first inning, and I like Martin. I'm hoping he does well. I commend him for fighting back from the health problem he had. But this guy is not a leadoff hitter. I don't know that he's got on base one time when he's come up, as a leadoff hitter, whether it's the beginning of the game or sometime in a later inning. And he's usually out of there in 3 or 4 pitches. And I've always learned leadoff hitters, there to take some pitches and take a few walks and all that.
Well, baseball's changed too, Bill. Not to our liking, but that theory is changed. I don't think they take pitches anymore.
No, I agree with that. They don't change their approach when they get 2 strikes. But I also saw something I don't think I've ever seen before, and I'd be curious if either of you guys remember a third hitter in the lineup being pinch hit for in a crucial situation.
Yeah, you had Tyler Naquin pinch hit for. Look at this Indians lineup tonight. Martin, Ramirez, Bowers, Santana, Miller, Allen, Perez, Naquin, and Stamets.
Well, I just watched the first inning while I was listening to you, and it's more of the same. And again, what I saw, this isn't just based on the first week in Cleveland, cold weather. I kind of saw the same thing in Phoenix. I don't think Bauer has a good swing. I don't think he's made a couple of nice running catches, but I've seen him boot balls that he should have got to in the outfield. Obviously, he had that one where he charged and it went over his head.
You know, if I'm a pitcher on the other team and I'm on the disabled list, I beg them to miscount how many days I'm on it and let me get out there and pitch against the Indians.
Well,
no, I don't remember.
I'm also concerned about Jose Ramirez, who I like.
Yeah,
I really
I am
appreciate
too.
what he's done, but his swing is totally different.
I don't recall a lineup as inept as this, even with the 40-man call-up at the end of the season. This is a brutal, brutal lineup to watch.
Well, what ultimately I'm concerned about, and if you see the game tonight, it doesn't look like there's 2,000 people there. I'm sure the ticket sales will be more, but I mean, there's nobody there. And if we're complaining, if the Dolans are concerned, and I love the Dolans, I appreciate what they've done for Cleveland, and there's nobody lining up to buy the Indians, but if 1.9 caused a salary cut, what's going to happen this year if they have 1.4 or something like that, or less?
Well, they never do draw well this time.
I realize we have to either bring up the young guys or trade one of the starting pitchers to get a bat, but geez. And the other thing that I was going to mention, maybe Dennis has a view on this, was opening day, and I had I was driving in the car and I had the radio on, and all the people were talking about, or all the commentators were talking about, were the Browns. And I'm thinking, geez, it is opening day, isn't it? And
yeah.
There's more football talk. So that's another thing that's going to take attendance away, I'm pretty sure, just the attitude.
Yeah, you have spendable income that doesn't go all that way. All right, Bill, thanks for calling. We'll talk to you soon. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. I mean, D-Man, look at this lineup. Martin, Ramirez, Bowers, Santana, Miller, Allen, Perez, Naquin, and Stamets. You just pitch around. You don't even have to pitch around Ramirez anymore.
But again, Les, I think Francona would say privately, because he doesn't trash players publicly, but he would say, look, just hold on a second.
Yeah.
Judge me in a few weeks or in a month when I have some of my guys back. Now, again, I'm not saying that beyond Lindor, stars are coming back. Because Kipnis is
but major leaguers are
uncertain.
Coming back.
Yeah, and maybe you're not sure what you're going to get, and who else? Cargo.
Yeah.
But at least they're guys who have major league credentials on their cards.
We've got the voicemail of Truth and Reason. You can call that and leave a message. Call anytime. 216-200-6650, the number to call. Call us anytime, and we'll pop you on the air and respond to your whatever you've got on your mind. 216-200-6650, the voicemail of Truth and Reason. 216-575-0403 is our number. We'll come on back in a moment. More sports and Les Levine continues in a moment, exclusively on cleveland.com.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
It takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling to bring the heat when things get chilly. Find us at 440-449-HEAT.
Let's take a look at this date in sports history. April 4th, 1974. Hank Aaron ties Babe Ruth's career home run mark with 714 off Jack Billingham of the Cincinnati Reds. How many years ago is that? 74 is 26 and 19.
Les, I maintain, and you may laugh or maybe you agree with me, throw it out to the viewers, I maintain that Hank Aaron is one of the most undervalued stars in the history of sports. I think when you look, yes, the home runs definitely get him attention, okay?
Yep.
And in my mind, he's still the home run champ. He's still
Mine
the home run
too.
king. But his other numbers were ridiculous.
Yes.
His across-the-board numbers that don't get talked about because of the home runs.
Right, that and he's got a lot of years, too, in the game.
Yes, he did compile to a degree, but he was still, in my mind, an awesome player who doesn't get talked about enough for the overall contribution because of the home runs.
We talked earlier about the voice of the voicemail, and let's take a look, take a listen to what you had to say on the voice of voicemail.
Hey, Les, if you see Chris and Tito, tell them they can't battle up below third. You know, that's crazy. You know, they failed in the off season. You got to move Hanley into the 3-hole against the lefty. You know, and you got 6 easy outs in the lineup. So, you know, you should have kept Gonzo and Diaz, and you got more balance in your lineup for now and in the future. Never should let Aguilar go. The head shaker.
Yeah,
What are we doing?
You know, nobody complained when Aguilar.
85, 86. You know, I hope they can do it.
I'm arguing to a
Have a good
tape.
day.
I'm ready to go
All
at
right.
it. No.
The thing about Aguilar, nobody complained when they got rid of
Exactly.
him, right? He came out of nowhere.
He's one of those that I'm not second guessing the
Yeah.
Indians for jettisoning Aguilar because he just looked lost here.
We had a question of the day on Facebook, and that is, if you had a do-over, D-Man, which player from the 2018 Indians roster would you like to have back? They're paying homage to you. Shawn Michael says, Dr. Smooth, Michael Brantley, number one. Glenn Berger says, Yan Gomes, a very good catcher and a proven major league hitter. Turning the catching duties over to Perez was a bad move. Perez hit 168 last year, only 30 base hits for the entire season. And even if Perez hits 200 this year, he's well below an average major league hitter. Doug, I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name, says Brantley, the professional hitter, would look pretty good in this lineup. Although, on the other hand, I can see why they didn't with his injury history. Gomes would have been a good one to bring back because of the way he handled the pitching staff. Remember when Kluber took Gomes to New York with him to accept the first Cy Young Award? That's true. Ed Watkins pays homage to the D-Man again and says Dr. Smooth. Wayne Richard Lyons, Brantley for sure. Why they let him go made no sense other than the usual get younger players for less money. We roll on to Jim Roode. Realistically, Gomes. They were never going to pay Brantley, Miller, Allen, or Donaldson. Perez is a plus defensive catcher, but he'll never hit above the Mendoza line. Rick May says, I would have kept Yan Gomes. He handled the pitching staff well and had a little offensive power, more so than Perez. Would have originally picked Michael Brantley had it not been for his injury history. And James Nagley says, unrealistically Brantley, realistically Yandy Diaz. Saw Yandy play the other day.
I agree with the realistically Gomes because that one stings to me because you're not talking about break the bank money here. You're
Right.
talking about $7 million.
Correct.
Brantley, clearly they weren't going to pay $32 million to keep him. But Gomes, you're thinking $7 million really to turn over the keys to Roberto Perez, who's never proven himself as an offensive player.
All right, if you're looking for help down south in Columbus, halfway down the state,
Okay.
We took a look at the Indians lineup tonight, which you saw earlier, and we compared it to that of the Columbus Clippers tonight. So there you see it, Martin and Ramirez, that's Jose Ramirez, Jake Bowers, Carlos Santana, Brad Miller, Greg Allen, Roberto Perez, Tyler Naquin, and Eric Stamets. Now you look at the Clippers lineup from Columbus tonight. How about this? Which one do you like better? Oscar Mercado, Carlos Gonzalez, Cameron Maben, Eric Haase, Mike Freeman, Yu Chang, the 20-year-old shortstop, Bobby Bradley, Trace Thompson, or Ryan Flaherty? When I showed it to you before, D-Man, you sort of like that.
I mean, none of those guys can run with Carlos or Jose, but that's not a bad AAA lineup right there.
All right, Jason Kipnis was spotted today at Progressive Field taking ground balls and some batting practice. He's going to drive down to Columbus and then play tomorrow night. There you see Kip playing at second base, and that was a slow motion move, but he got a lot of ground balls hit at him and seemed to do all well, and I assume you'll wait and see how it takes overnight. That one, not a bad move, moving into the hole between first and second. And that's good to see him on a major league field.
Yeah, I mean, look, Kipnis is no longer a luxury. You know, there was a time in his career where you didn't have to have him, and the Indians could still score.
Right.
You need Kipnis. You know, newsflash, Kipnis, and they not only do they need him to be very productive, if at all possible.
No question about that. Need him in the locker room also. When we come back, maybe you can explain this to me, the J.R. Smith situation, because I don't understand it at all. Do you?
I don't understand J.R. Smith,
well,
so how can I understand the J.R. Smith situation?
Who does? We'll take a break. We'll come on back, and we'll find out what's going on with J.R. Smith and the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were in Sacramento tonight. Sokolowski's University Inn. I was there again today, as I usually am on Thursdays. Great place to go for lunch, 11 to 3, Monday through Friday, Friday and Saturday nights for dinner. If there's a better family out there, I'd like to know who they are, because they're as good as can be. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn, and of course, they are Cleveland's oldest family-owned and operated restaurant. James Beard Foundation Award winner, only 5 in the country get it each and every year. We'll come back in a moment. Dennis Manoloff is with us. You're watching More Sports and Less Levine exclusively right here on cleveland.com.
The concrete in your garage is uneven, cracked, pitted, and just plain ugly. Transform your garage into a welcoming entryway with Nature Stone flooring. Reduce tracked-in dirt, eliminate puddling and salt damage. Plus, Nature Stone corrects uneven concrete so you don't have to worry about tripping or slipping.
Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of March and get up to 50% off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Let's take a look at this date in Les Levine history, D-Man. April 4th, 1964. Les came up with 2 on and 1 out in the 6th inning of a game. It was tied. His manager told him to strike out on purpose so he wouldn't end the inning with a double play. Smart move by that manager, right? Let's take a look at this week in review. Also in 1964, when Les came to the plate, the opposing manager put up 3 fingers to let the umpire know that a strikeout was coming. He was right. You know, instead of an intentional pass, he put 3 in. And then back on April 2nd, 1979, figuring it worked out for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lester changed his name to Les, but apparently it worked out better for Abdul-Jabbar. It's clear to be named later. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Did I interrupt you?
No, I'm just checking the Indians. As far as I know, 0-0 in the third. Bauer's on the mound. He gives you more than a puncher's chance to win.
No question
but
about
with this
that.
lineup, it's tough. And, of course, the sparse crowd. Yeah, that's the story. One of the storylines is that nobody's there.
Nobody's there. J.R. Smith. Cavaliers are in Sacramento tonight.
Okay.
A must-lose game.
Okay.
Find a way
Aren't
to
they comfortably in the bottom three, though?
Yeah, so for some reason, the Bulls decided to win a game.
Okay.
So I think they've got a 3-game edge.
Yeah,
plus, I think the tiebreaker goes their way. But it's you know what? These teams, you assume the first 3 teams, with the worst 3 teams, you assume that they're going to get the number 1 pick. Not necessarily.
No, and there's no guarantee that the worst 3 get 1, 2, 3.
No.
In any combination. So
how do you think it'll look with the Lakers, the Knicks, and what other team will get the top 3?
The Bulls.
And the Bulls.
That would look rather interesting, considering, especially the Knicks, with all the rumors surrounding who might be going there.
Yeah,
if they were to
Kyrie.
add, in addition to the free agents, the number 1 overall pick, meaning,
You know what,
meaning
though?
Williamson, it would be crazy.
You go back to the Patrick Ewing fake out, whatever you want to believe about that. You always hear that the league needs New York to do very well to have the league survive. And the NBA has proven that's not even close to being true.
That's true. I think today's NBA needs stars, first and foremost, individual stars that it can market, and it has done a marvelous job of that. And then secondarily, some rivalries amongst teams. But it's such an individually based and individually marketed association. And it just so happens now you have a team, the Golden State Warriors, that is basically unbeatable when it wants to play.
Right.
When it's motivated and healthy.
You think they win this year?
Yeah, easy. When they have all their guys, and that includes now Boogie Cousins, when that 5 is motivated and healthy, Durant, Curry, Thompson, Cousins, and I hate to say it, Draymond Green, they're unbeatable. Their bench is better than 75% of the teams in the NBA.
You hear this about LeBron James. Don't you think the fact that they've gone to so many finals in a row that'll hurt them? And by the way, most likely the East will have the home court advantage in the finals.
Yeah, okay, but listen, I'm not betting against it. Betting, proverbially, I cannot get that word out of my mouth.
Proverbially.
In so many words, I'm not betting against the Warriors until they lose. I mean, until they prove to me, until somebody else shows me they can beat them 4 times in 7 games. Now, having said that, last year the Houston Rockets, by all rights, should have beaten them, and Paul got hurt. If Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, you can't convince me the Rockets wouldn't have won. But guess what? They didn't.
All right,
Paul got hurt, they didn't win.
You said a moment ago with Kyrie and Durant going, if they go to New York and with the top pick, and we're talking about Williamson here. If you put Williamson on this Cavs team, what are you thinking? If you've got Kevin Love, you've got you got some guys who can play a little bit. Do you think that makes this team pretty good? If you get Williamson?
Yes. I mean, I wouldn't guarantee anything overnight, but Williamson is a transcendent player. He's clearly the number 1 overall pick, and that's what in a draft that has quality players such as
but not franchise changers.
Jay Morant and Barrett. But yeah, he's a franchise changer. He makes any team that he goes on better. The Cavs have shown grit, and they've won some games they weren't supposed to win, but they're still terrible right now, record-wise. So I wouldn't guarantee that Williamson turns them around overnight, but he's a huge step.
Would you say that Kyrie Irving was the best first-round pick in maybe the last 10 years?
By the Cavs?
Well, not just for the Cavs, but the best in the league in the last 10 years. Because what I'm going to say is...
First overall, you mean?
Yeah.
Or not just first round, but
first overall. So I'm wondering where Williamson stacks up as far as how you said transcendent player. How good is he? Is he as good as anybody since Kyrie and then since Kareem, and then since LeBron?
We'll find out. But nothing I've seen in the 1 year that he will have played at Duke, nothing I saw leads me to believe he won't be a great player.
Yeah, I agree with that. Each week, the Ohio Lottery's Partner in Education program recognizes the students who are role models from across the state of Ohio. This week, we head to Hoover High School to meet Parker Timken. Timken is an excellent swimmer and excels in the classroom as well. The Ohio Lottery proud to salute Parker Timken, this week's shining star.
Whatever Parker Timken does, she does it with power and passion.
Ever since I was little, I've always had to take the hardest classes because I've had to beat everyone else. It's just how I am. It's how I'm wired. I'm a really intense person on and in and out of the water, you know.
Timken is a great swimmer and Hoover's best motivational speaker.
My goal is to get my teammates ready because I know I'll be ready no matter what because it's all a mental thing for me, but I get my teammates ready. I'm like, you know, no one's going to beat you. You're the best in this. You're the best in this pool right now, and it works.
She's right. Parker swam the anchor leg on 2 relay teams last season and both won a state title, including a new state record in the 200 free relay.
I know I have a really different personality than a lot of girls, and I'm okay with that, but I want my team to remember that feeling of being motivated and that feeling of winning states and being like, wow, I want to do this every year, you know? I want my team to remember me by that.
As a senior, she was even better. Timken and her teammates defended their 2 relay titles while breaking the 200 free relay record again. But Parker also won 2 individual races, the 50 and the 100, giving her 4 gold medals on the day and a hug from her sister.
I'm incredibly competitive, and I will never settle for anything less than first.
Fortunately, Parker doesn't have to worry about college. Back in May, Timken announced she will swim for the NC State Wolfpack, achieving a lifelong goal.
I told my mom at a very young age, you know, I said, Mom, I want to be great at something. And I didn't know what it was yet, so I was trying all these different sports. And when it came to swimming, I was like, you know, this is my passion. This is what I'm good at. This is what I want to do.
She has a long-term goal, too. Parker Timken is a 4.4 student who wants to go into business. After meeting her, how can you doubt her?
I want to be in business. I want to be a manager. I want to be CEO on Wall Street one day. That's what I want to do. And like I said, I'm not going to stop until I do that.
Well, if you know a student deserving of recognition, visit OhioLottery.com, go to the About section, then find the tab which is marked Supporting Education to nominate him or her as an academic all-star. He or she could end up as one of our shining stars from the Ohio Lottery. Tomorrow night, Dave Bacon will have his show. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/moresports, and Les Levine with new content posted each and every day. So we are seen, of course, Monday through Thursday, and then Dave Bacon on Friday. Live racing coming your way Sunday through Wednesday, as well as Saturday. 6 p.m. is the post time for that at Northfield Park. Free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park, and you can catch the exciting Derby contest Saturday through April 20th. Scout this year's Kentucky Derby winning contenders for a chance to win some cash. Free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. D-Man, we're being bombarded with some great How Come Quickies. You ready for a couple?
Yes, sir.
This is from Don Yeager, sends in a bunch. Why is it called lipstick if your lips can still move? Why is the third hand on a clock called the second hand? Do Australians refer to other countries as the land up over? And finally, does killing time shorten the length of eternity? That one I don't want to know. John Patrick, a frequent contributor of recent days. How come if the recipe said to set the oven at 100 degrees, now I can't use it because the door faces the wall? This is way too deep for
That's
me.
good. Yeah, I got that one, actually, amazingly.
Wow. Hey, Ken in Defiance says, D-Man, sorry to hear the news. Hope you can land something soon. Best of luck.
Thank you,
We
sir.
appreciate the support. No question about that. 216-575-0403 if you'd like to get in on the action. Dennis Manoloff is with us. D-Man, your thoughts on, as the season is underway, shortening the games, which they're not doing, except the Indians are doing their part, but they're striking out a lot. That takes up a long time. Anything that now that we're back into action for games that actually count, anything striking you as to what needs to be changed and quickly?
Overarching MLB stuff, market the players better somehow, some way, get the nation talking about baseball more. And I know it's not easy, but it's got to be done. I think the guys who are banking all this money, there's an obligation that comes with it. You know, I hear Mike Trout, he just wants to be a ball player. Well,
there's stuff that comes with it.
I mean, yeah, okay, but you've also got to do. The league might need you to be its face. MLB, don't be afraid to promote individuals. You can do it without doing it at the expense of teams. Because what I've heard from MLB over the years is that we don't want to promote individuals, we want to promote teams.
Right.
Because it's a team game. Well, you can do both. Okay? But I think, and I think it's a fallacy, too, that youngsters are not interested in baseball. I mean, my wife Denise, her son and her son's buddies are huge baseball fans. So, and I know that's small sample, microscopically small. But I think kids care about baseball. I don't think that's an excuse you can use.
How about last night? You had to get a fan thrown out of the game for taunting.
Did that happen?
Did you see that?
I did not.
What's his name? Adam, just got him from the Orioles.
Adam Jones?
Yeah, Adam Jones.
You mean with the, who was that? Who would that have been? The D-backs or no? Where is he now? Where did Jones wind up?
Arizona? Yeah, the
okay.
D-backs, yeah.
Right.
So there's some taunting. You can't do that.
No. I mean, I haven't read up on it. I don't know what happened, but
it got personal.
Okay, you can't do that.
No.
You buy a ticket, it doesn't entitle you to be ridiculous with it.
Right. You willing? Well, you have no choice. You think it'll get better in the next month for the Tribe?
Yes, and that's not just because I'm, looking at it with rose-colored glasses. I see the rotation, keeping them in the vast majority of games, and then I see certain guys coming up from AAA, such as Carlos Gonzalez, such as Maben, Kipnis coming back, Lindor coming back, and all of a sudden you see a lineup that potentially by the middle of May has a completely different complexion than it does
Let me
now.
go back to the J.R. Smith thing, eating up the payroll. He's scheduled to next year, the 2019-2020 season, to make $15.68 million. I don't know who's going to take him. He'll become an unrestricted free agent in 2020. He hasn't played a game since November 19th of 2018. And this year he averaged 6.7 points per game, 34% field goals in 11 games this season. And there you see it. But you still have to remember he was an integral part in the championship season.
I'll never forget JR for what he contributed for the 16 title team and his underrated back-to-back threes that he hits to keep them connected in that game when it looked like Golden State was going to run away with it.
Yeah, you think of Kyrie and Love and LeBron, but there was a big factor with J.R. Smith, and then he forgot to wear a shirt at the parade.
And a soup with Damon Jones with Hannah Holmes.
Great job by the D-man, Dennis Manoloff.
Les.
He'll be back here next Thursday. That'll do it for us. Dave Bacon tomorrow night with the show. We'll be back on Monday. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.